Right now at 6, how the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department intends to spend a $250,000 grant.
And we've got scattered showers and thunderstorms across the area today. More storms expected later this afternoon. And of course, still dealing with some dangerous heat. Have a look at your forecast coming up.
Plus details on a deadly crash on the Will Rogers Turnpike.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Tuesday, August the 19th. And of course, a lot of kids back in school today, a lot more starting back tomorrow.
Yes.
Lots of kids out there this morning. And
Right.
for those that are already back in school, some of you need to make some plans for thunderstorms this morning. Make sure you're playing it safe. Let's start though first with a live look from downtown Pittsburgh. Again, we've had our camera there pointed back to the southwest. As we start to get a little more daylight, the lightning from these distant thunderstorms will be a little less evident, but still keeping an eye on them out there, and we've been seeing them pretty far. We also have a traffic alert this morning for drivers on Range Line. Again, the image a little blurry at times, but the north and southbound outside lanes on Range Line are closed near 15th Street. This is as work continues at that intersection. Just a few days ago, they had the northbound outside lane closed during the lunch hour, and traffic backed up pretty bad. So just make sure you are prepared as you start your morning commute. If you see that flashing arrow up there, just go ahead and make sure you merge in advance. All right, so here's what we've got is these scattered thunderstorms out there into parts of southeastern Kansas and northeast Oklahoma. Again, nothing severe at this point, but we are continuing to track these thunderstorms out there. We have a strong storm in Washington County we'll get to. We're also seeing some new development. Now, this storm up here in Coffee County has begun to weaken a bit, which is some good news. The lightning counts come down, but we are now seeing some new development that is taking place across parts of Anderson and Lynn counties. And so these storms are a little bit newer out there. If you back this up, you can see they're somewhat new. As we head back over into Greenwood County around Eureka, Twin Grove, we've got some thunderstorm activity. New thunderstorm development, and this is again, it is new thunderstorm development now near Fredonia into Wilson County. Starting to get some lightning picking up with that as well. But as you take a look, just very quickly, see how it's not really moving? These storms not really moving much. New development also within the last 20 minutes or so here around Independence, into Montgomery County, parts of Chautauqua County. Again, not moving much. More thunderstorm development around Coffeyville. We have this stronger storm in Washington County. It's been producing upwards of 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts and some small hail, and that's what these purples here are. These are this is the radar picking up on some small hail out there, and of course, it is producing right now the most lightning of any of the storms in our area. In fact, right there alone, 192 lightning strikes. We've also had some showers try to get developed here in between Edna and Chautauqua, but not really much going on. These showers and storms, again, not moving much. They're trying to push, as bizarre as it is for this area, they're trying to push actually a little more westerly, but you can also see where they're just not moving that much either, so watch out for the possibility also of flash flooding. Heat advisories continue, or were reissued rather, yesterday for today. Because, again, not a surprise. We still have the potential for dangerous heat out there today. We also have this afternoon a level 1 out of 5 risk for strong to low-grade severe storms across the entire area with 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts is the primary concern. So while Future Track is clearing these storms that are out there now, I think that we could still have a few isolated storms in Kansas and Oklahoma as we go through the morning into the afternoon. And then later today, after about 2, 3 o'clock, we'll see new thunderstorm development across the region, and some of these could be strong to severe with those damaging wind gusts. 77 in Joplin right now, 74 in Pittsburgh, and around the region still well above average. We've got 78 in Iola as one of the warmer spots out there. Got some low 70s, Cassville, Jay, both at 72. Most of us, though, in the mid 70s this morning. Kids getting on the bus this morning, scattered storms or at least isolated storms, mid 70s. We'll have some additional isolated storms around the lunch hour for recess, and low 90s, mid 90s when the bus brings them home, and starting to see a gradual uptick in thunderstorm coverage out there. So mid 80s by 9, low 90s by noon, mid upper 90s for our highs. Heat index values today still 105, maybe a little higher, hence those heat advisories again. We're going to go over the thunderstorms we've got this morning, talk about more in detail what we're expecting late today and overnight, and some much cooler weather that's on the way here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks. Well, a Galena man was arrested yesterday. He was booked for sex crimes against a child. Sheriff Brian Henderson of Cherokee County says earlier this month his office was made aware of a case involving inappropriate relations between an adult and a juvenile victim. Cherokee County launched an investigation and took their findings to the county attorney's office. The Galena man, 45-year-old Teddy Boggle, was arrested and taken into Cherokee County Jail. Boggle is being booked for aggravated criminal sodomy and aggravated indecent liberties with a minor. This investigation is ongoing, and anyone with further information on this case is encouraged to contact the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. A crash on the Will Rogers Turnpike near Miami claims the life of an Oklahoma Turnpike Authority worker and puts another in the hospital. The crash happened around 2 this afternoon on eastbound I-44 near Miami. 2 Turnpike workers were on the shoulder near exit 313 when a semi veered off the road and hit them. The OTA says Zach Reinhardt, a heavy equipment operator and Veneta volunteer firefighter, was hit and killed. Authorities say Reinhardt was picking up trash along the highway. The semi then struck an OTA vehicle, which had the other OTA employee inside. That employee was critically injured and transported to an area hospital for treatment. The other worker was in the truck and was taken to a Joplin hospital. Well, now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. It's also available on our news and weather apps as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. Well, dry conditions fuel fires across southwest Missouri, and now a handful of counties are under a drought advisory. A third of Missouri is in the abnormally dry category. That includes Jasper, Newton, and Berry counties. Sunday evening, firefighters in Newton County battled a grass fire that spread to an RV and threatened a mobile home between Seneca and Neosho. No injuries were reported, and officials are still investigating what started the fire. Further east in Greene County, a baler and tractor caught fire, and Saturday near Willard, Missouri, the fire burned part of the field, but fortunately no one was hurt. Firefighters quickly extinguished the blaze, which started on a dry field during worsening drought conditions across southwest Missouri. Well, paw prints of the Heartland had the fire department out yesterday, and it wasn't for a fire call. Instead, the firefighters posed with furry felines as a way to help adopt some of the adult cats. Adult cats often get overlooked, so this is a way to get attention for those older felines.
I hope the most they get out of it is to remember the cats in our community, which we have so many cats that are homeless, going without food and water, and we need to remember them, especially this time of year. Kittens, we have kittens galore.
If you can adopt, Paw Prints says they are always expecting donations of kitty litter and food and volunteers. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather coming up on the KOAM Morning News. President Trump reveals he's working to set up direct talks between Ukraine and Russia. Plus, Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, and Kendrick Lamar lead the pack at the 2025 VMAs. And extreme heat advisory with potential rain chances are coming. Chris has another look at your morning forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Time now 6:08. We'll be right back. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning, the White House is working on next steps to end the Russia-Ukraine war after Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky and 7 European leaders met with President Trump yesterday. The president said he spoke with Russian President Vladimir Putin by phone after the sit-down, and that Putin expressed interest in meeting with Zelensky. Now, that's something the Ukrainian leader says he's also in favor of. CBS News' Jared Hill has more on the latest discussions and what could come next.
An optimistic President Trump.
I have a feeling you and President Putin are going to work something out.
After hours of talks between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and a host of European leaders at the White House Monday, seeking an end to Russia's war.
Everybody around this table is in favor of peace.
Now, President Trump says he's working to set up direct talks with the leaders of Ukraine and Russia, one of a handful of results from yesterday's historic summit. The group also discussed Russia returning Ukrainian children and guarantees to protect Ukraine after an eventual end to the war.
Ukraine will never stop on the way to peace.
Part of those security guarantees could mean putting peacekeeping troops on the ground in Ukraine. President Trump later indicated that European allies would take the lead in coordination with the U.S. Then this hot mic moment with President Trump suggesting President Putin might make peace a personal favor for him.
I think he wants to make a deal for me. You understand? I think as crazy as it sounds.
Amid peace talks in Washington, Russia continued its deadly attacks in Ukraine. President Trump again dismissed the need for a ceasefire before future meetings, despite insistence from European leaders.
I can't imagine that the next meeting would take place without a ceasefire.
We can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting.
The president says he wants to join Putin and Zelensky after the two leaders speak face to face. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Now, one issue still left to be hashed out is what to do about Ukrainian territory that is now under Russian control. Zelensky yesterday said he believes that should be left up to him and Putin to resolve. Well, still to come, new research reveals an unexpected benefit of hearing aids, plus extreme heat and rain chances. Chris has another look at your Tuesday forecast. Well, the VMAs are back with a star-studded lineup, and spine-tingling new horror trailers are creeping onto screens. Nick Zajevic has your eye on entertainment.
The countdown is on. We're getting our first look at the performers to light up the 2025 MTV VMAs. Hitting the stage, Sabrina Carpenter, Ricky Martin, Busta Rhymes, J Balvin, and plenty more. Grammy winner, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, and hip-hop legend LL Cool J is set to host. And with heavyweights like Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, and Kendrick Lamar leading the nominations, this year's VMAs promise a night that won't disappoint. Catch it all September 7th on CBS, MTV, and streaming on Paramount+. When dark forces threaten to claim his owner, it's up to man's best friend to take on pure evil. This haunted house thriller, directed by Ben Leonberg, unfolds entirely from a dog's point of view. Good Boy hits theaters Friday, October 3rd.
When you hear a sound, you become its sound.
The new horror film Rabbit Trap proves sometimes the scariest thing isn't what you see, but what you hear.
What is this? Sounds like a spell.
Set in 1970s Wales, Dev Patel stars as Darcy, a musician who retreats with his wife to a remote cabin to finish their album. But when his recordings pick up more than music, the couple stumbles into a world of Celtic folklore and straight into a nightmare. Rabbit Trap, produced by Elijah Wood, creeps into theaters September 12th. That's your eye on entertainment. Nick Zajevic, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All right, some exciting fall films there. Let's take it over now to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got an absolutely beautiful sunrise here from 7th and Rangeline in Joplin. Thunderstorms, though, across parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. Some of them have been a bit on the strong side. We've got more thunderstorm chances later today. And, of course, still dealing with some of that dangerous heat. Got a full look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We are beginning again with that traffic alert for anybody who's commuting out this morning on Rangeline. The north and southbound outside lanes near 15th Street are both closed as work continues on that intersection. So again, you'll just want to make sure you're planning for extra time. I know a few days ago they shut down the northbound outside lane on Rangeline near that same spot. Traffic backed up pretty hard out there. So just be prepared for some potential delays and maybe avoid the area if you can while that work continues. Take a look at all these thunderstorms now on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. We backed this up even just, an hour ago. We had storms out there, but not nearly as many as what we have now. You can see how quickly they're developing. We're getting new development out there as well still. So the storm that was near Burlington has all but died out, and we've got activity now that is in the parts of Anderson, Lynn counties around south of Garnett and near Mound City. Then as we head over by Yates Center, we have new thunderstorms developing there as well in the parts of Woodson County, and you can see where they just kind of filled in. Not much to them, but still some lightning. We also have this heavier thunderstorm now north of Eureka near into Greenwood County. And then this heavy thunderstorm, take a look at this guy. We're actually picking up some small hail on radar. Now, our radar is also combining the sweeps of several different radar beams. So what it's picking up may not be exactly what's happening, but we're looking at about half-inch size hail with that particular storm. And again, it's one of the many that went from nothing to something very quickly. I mean, it only took it 20 minutes to develop as it has. We've also got this new storm that's over here just to the south of Thayer that has also gone up pretty quickly and is already generating lightning. So, I mean, that's the thing. These storms are picking up some strength. Nothing, again, severe right now, but we have seen some stronger storms out there. Additionally, we have new thunderstorms here into parts of Montgomery County, from Independence down to Coffeyville, some into Elk and Chautauqua counties. Got a heavier storm here south of Howard, and it looks like it may be, you can barely see it, but a little smidge of small hail there with that storm as well. And then the strong storm we've had has been this one's been kind of hovering over Washington County. It's trying to push off to the west, but you can also see it's producing a lot of lightning. That storm over there alone, 152 lightning strikes with that storm in. So that's what we're continuing to track. That storm has been the only one that's had what we call a significant weather advisory, meaning it's strong but not quite severe with 40, 50 mile an hour winds. But again, look at how quickly all of this is filling in, and this storm activity that's filling in here. What we've got is this complex. Now see, this one's actually moving. It's coming through Kansas City. It was briefly severe in the southern portions of Kansas City. It's pushing south and east and will very likely be entering Bates County, Lane County, and eventually maybe even into Vernon and Bourbon counties as well. This activity trying to drift off to the west. If you look, it's got a slow westerly motion, but this might start dragging some of it back off to the south and east. So we'll watch that for you. We also have a level 1 out of 5 risk for strong to low-grade severe thunderstorms this afternoon and overnight, which could bring some gusty winds upwards of 60 miles an hour. So here's what we've got. Future Track is thinking the storms that we've got out there now are going to be gone in the next couple of hours. And I'll be honest, I do not agree with Future Track. Now, yesterday, only one of them showed the storms this morning, and it was the one that was right. But I think we might have some of these shower storms lingering with us through the morning and into the early afternoon. So while there's nothing here, I think some isolated, at least, thunderstorms will still be possible. Then we'll see an uptick in coverage after 3, and that's when we start to see that window for another round of strong and, again, potentially low-grade severe storms. By 9, again, still scattered out there, but there's a Future Track's thinking of a thunderstorm complex out from central Kansas that'll push east-southeast across the area overnight. Could also be strong, low-grade severe, and then it's done by about 4 o'clock in the morning. Heat index values today, once again, up of 100 to 105, maybe a bit higher, and near 100 for Wednesday, and a little better on Thursday, a few more mid-90s on those heat index values. That's why we, again, have heat advisories across a good portion of the area, at least some of the areas that were reissued through 8 this evening. Our extreme heat safety tips, KOAMnewsnow.com/forecast. Still have those up there for you. So through the morning, man, that sunrise is gorgeous there. Near 80 by 8, near 90 by 11. Still, again, keeping those isolated storm chances out there. Our highs today, mid-upper 90s. Heat index values, again, 105 to 108. Low 90s tomorrow, maybe a couple of pop-up storms. Low 90s, so seasonable into the weekend. And the start of next week with more rain chances, and then maybe even into the low 80s by the second half of next week. That's Check Your Forecast. We're going to send it over to Elise now with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, heat waves can make the damaging health effects of air pollution even worse. A Texas A&M study measured air samples for pollutants and found during heat waves, trees release emissions, which when mixed with air pollution and solar radiation can become harmful. Researchers recommend staying indoors and avoiding major roadways during peak sunlight hours during extreme temperatures. And people with hearing loss who use hearing aids have a significantly lower risk of dementia. A study published in JAMA found among hearing loss patients under 70, those who used hearing aids had a 61% lower risk of being diagnosed with dementia. It's believed that untreated hearing loss forces the brain to work harder to hear and leads to social isolation, both of which increase the risk of dementia. An approval over-the-counter birth control pill has led to improved access to contraception. According to a new study, it found in the 2 years since the FDA approved the pill, there's been a 31% increase in people using it among those who previously weren't using any contraceptives. The study's authors say this is especially beneficial for Americans with limited access to health care. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, Missouri Southern State University rolls out the red carpet for students.
And we've got scattered storms out there this morning. A beautiful sunrise, though. We could have more of them this afternoon, and it's still going to be dangerously hot. Look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, the Gorillas are back in action at Pittsburgh State University. How students are kicking off their new semester on campus.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Tuesday, August the 19th. And there for a second, I could not step up on this box.
Oh, no.
I don't know why. I just couldn't. I lost my balance and it was almost a disaster, which could have been more entertaining if I hadn't made it. But I did make it. And we've got a lot to talk about in your forecast this morning. We're going to start, though, with live look downtown Pittsburgh. The sunrise looking pretty good. We've got some clouds. That's courtesy, of course, storms off to the west. We also have a traffic alert this morning for anybody traveling on Range Line as they're continuing the work at the 15th and Range Line intersection. The north and southbound outside lanes are both closed at 15th Street right now as they're continuing the work, and you can see that there. A few days ago, they closed the northbound outside lane. Traffic during the lunch hour backed up really bad, so that flashing arrow, you can see it. We're letting you know now. Make sure you're not driving in that right-hand lane. Once you pass 20th Street, you got to get over. Same if you're coming south from 7th. Just be prepared and also watch out for traffic backups. Then we have all of this. We have all these thunderstorms out there. Nothing severe at this point. We've had a strong storm in Washington County, but just backing this up, even just what is this? About 30-40 minutes ago, you can see how quickly some of these storms have formed in. Seeing the new development here into parts of Lynn and Anderson counties in southeast Kansas, around Mound City, south of Garnett. And again, you can just see how quickly in 30 minutes time that these things have flared up. The storm that was over Burlington or near Burlington has died out, leaving us with some shower activity there. Another little heavier shower south of Yates Center. A little thunderstorm still north of Eureka into Greenwood County. This guy over Fredonia, man, he went up hard and fast. So you can see by 5:45, nothing there. By 5:50, a little shower. And then just look how quickly this thing developed, and it's barely moving. So Fredonia, be prepared for some very heavy rain, a very loud start to your day, quite a bit of lightning with that storm. You can see 41 lightning strikes with that. And on radar, we have at least been picking up, it's been picking up on some small hail out there, nothing significant. Then we head down to the south. We've got this little guy to the west of Parsons near the town of Shiloh, so south of Thayer. We've got more thunderstorms that have flared up across Montgomery County, Chautauqua, and Elk counties out there. Coffeyville, Independence, back into Washington County. Again, this heavier thunderstorm there as well. And then we've got thunderstorms that are now exiting the Kansas City metro, and you can see they're reorganizing because if you watch, there's a little outflow boundary that flares up off that activity, which is fueling new storm development. That's moving southeast, and I think eventually it's going to try and drag some of this activity south and east with it. Right now, you can see what we're seeing isn't really moving very much at all. We also have heat advisories that were reissued until 8 o'clock this evening for some of the area. Then later today, we have a level 1 out of 5 risk for strong to low-grade severe storms with 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts as the primary concern. A lot going on in the weather today, which is kind of nice from our side. It's not been a lot to talk about here lately other than the fact it was hot. So, future track not picking up, I don't think, on these storms this morning. I do think we're still going to have some isolated storms continuing through the morning into the early afternoon. Then after 3, we'll see new, more scattered to widespread development of showers and storms, and some of these, again, could be strong, low-grade severe. Very warm in Joplin, 77. Not too bad in Pittsburgh City. It's 73 this morning, but a mix of temperatures. Most of us mid-70s. We still have some upper 70s out there, and again, some low 70s as well. Kids getting on the bus, isolated storms or scattered storms, mid-70s. Same around the lunch hour, I think a little more isolated, low 90s. And when the bus brings them home, isolated to scattered storms, mid-90s out there. That's where our highs are headed today. We'll go mid-80s by 9, low 90s by noon, mid-90s for our highs. Heat index values today, once again, 105 to 108 degrees. So make sure you're staying hydrated as well. All right, that covers some of that. We have, again, the thunderstorms late this evening, overnight, and then we have cooler temperatures on the way, and we'll go over all of that with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks. Well, for thousands of area families, the summer vacation is officially over. It's back to school time around the 4 states. Now we begin our coverage at Missouri Southern State University, where many students attended their first day of class. Faculty and staff rolled out a warm greeting with the free lunch, games, and more.
Felt like a really long summer where we didn't have anybody here, just barely seeing any students. So just getting to see them all back on campus and just get back into the swing of things is what's the most exciting.
It's been better than I expected. I was a little nervous this morning, but it was good.
Although a lot of students seem to enjoy outdoor activities, some opted to eat indoors just to stay cool. In northeastern Oklahoma, students got the opportunity to meet the school's president on their first day of classes yesterday. The president says enrollment is up this year. We caught up with both the president and students to hear their thoughts and hopes as a new academic year begins.
Students choose NEO because of the connectedness across campus, our faculty and staff that truly care about our students, not only in the classroom but outside of the classroom. That's going to be a focal area this year.
I really like their athletic training program and the way that they help out the kids and reach out to them and stuff.
Now, one of the things NEO says they are proud of is their esports department, as they've recently ranked nationally. And Pittsburgh State University is also welcoming students back to campus. Yesterday, the Gorillas kicked off a new semester with classes for freshmen. It's their first real taste of college life, and for returning students, it's a chance to get back into the swing of things and reconnect on campus.
Expectation for the student body is just to have lots of fun, to win our football games, and to just grow in community with each other.
Students also attended a number of first day festivities around the campus. The Ottawa County, Oklahoma Sheriff's Department hopes to use a $250,000 grant to make improvements to the agency. The funding assistance grant is a program through the State Attorney General's office. Last week, the Ottawa County Commission voted to approve the Sheriff's Office plans for the grant funds. Sheriff David Dean says the agency plans to use the money to replace aging patrol vehicles, have department issued firearms, and to install 3 license plate readers.
It's absolutely amazing, because without it we wouldn't be able to buy what we're buying, because our budget is low. The only thing we can't use this money for is salaries. So any equipment, anything that's broke that we need fixed, we can use it for.
Now, the sheriff says this is a grant the department hopes to receive every year. Funds from last year were used to purchase things like department stipends and ATVs for responding in more rural parts of the county. And now to look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A major cable network is getting a complete makeover. Plus, the NFL is stepping into new territory with an unexpected partnership, a surprising collaboration that gives fans a whole new way to show team spirit. We'll have the latest time now, 6:37. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Wages in the U.S. are lagging behind inflation, according to a new report. Bankrate's 2025 wage to inflation index found that Americans earn 1.2 percentage points below the rise of the cost of living over the past 4 years. On average, according to the study, workers in education have been hit the hardest, with a 4.8 wage to inflation gap. Well, MSNBC is getting a name change and a new look. The network is rebranding to MS Now, which stands for My Source News Opinion World, according to the company. And it'll also lose NBC's Peacock logo. NBC Universal announced last year that it would spin off MSNBC and other networks like CNBC and USA Network to a new business called Versant. And the National Football League is expanding its shoe game just as the new season is about to kick off. The league huddled with Crocs on a multi-year deal for NFL-themed clogs and charms known as gibbets, giving fans another way to show love to their favorite team. The NFL Crocs collection is available starting September 18th. Well, an increasing number of ranchers in Missouri are starting to raise and sell Wagyu meat. Right now, more than 50 farms deal with Wagyu. Chris Bryant introduces us to one Southwest Missouri farmer who is proud of the pricier product he's offering customers.
Unique breed, ancient breed, and the full blood especially, they're a slower growing breed.
Warren Buffett once said, "Price is what you pay, value is what you get." The owner of JB Kobe Farms says for a cow to become market ready for him, it takes nearly double the time of an Angus, from 18 months to 3 years. And with that quality comes a higher price.
I would say probably double. There, you will see some Wagyu at Walmart and other places. It's a lower quality Wagyu, probably the 50% Wagyu genetics is what that is, but about double.
Sidney Long is the executive director of the Missouri Beef Industry Council and says the growth of Wagyu is about the farmers.
We view it as another way for producers to evaluate what works for their own operations and find another way to add value to their product.
Long says research shows customers are willing to purchase up when it comes to meat.
They're more willing to pay for a product that says that it is a breed specific. Wagyu is included in that, as well as Hereford and Angus. They're more willing to pay for that than just a steak that is sitting there on the shelf that doesn't have a specific claim associated with it.
And customers are willing to buy local.
Everybody deserves to know where their food comes from, and everybody's been interested in that. But we definitely have seen an increase in wanting to buy directly from a producer wherever they happen to find it, whether that is at a farmer's market or they happen to know a guy.
Well, prices vary on the quality and percent when it comes to Wagyu meat. With some steaks and cuts, it can cost nearly $100 a pound or more. And that's it for Consumer Watch this morning. Let's head over to Chris for another look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've got an absolutely beautiful sunrise there from 7th and Rangeline in Joplin. However, we still have scattered storms across the area and are expecting more through the day. Some of those could be strong, low-grade severe. We'll talk about that and our extreme heat when we come back. We'll also celebrate birthdays and anniversaries right after this. Time now is 6:43. All right, time now for some Tuesday birthdays in the 4 states, and we are going to start in Chanute with Nova Webb celebrating birthday number 8 today. A very happy birthday to you.
And a happy 14th birthday to Sullivan Fincher in Pittsburgh. It says love from Grandpa and Grandma.
And in Girard, Emily Powell celebrating birthday number 17 today. A very happy birthday to you, Emily.
And in Arma, happy 17th birthday to Tanner O'Banion. It says, happy birthday, Bubba. Mama loves you to the moon and back.
And in Chanute, Gerald Henry celebrating birthday number 83 today. A very happy birthday to you, Gerald.
And a happy 36th anniversary to Paul and Jill Slankard in Seneca.
And in Columbus, Andy Peterman celebrating another year wiser says happy birthday from your family and flock at Center Christian Church.
And last but not least, a happy 10th birthday to Crew Vins. It says, love you, buddy. Hope you have a great day. Love, Mom, Dad, Coy, and Kai.
All right, a very great list of birthdays and anniversaries. And of course, if you want to celebrate with us, Elise has some information you need to take down.
Yes, please submit your birthdays and your anniversaries to birthdays@koamnewsnow.com. Be sure to include those wonderful photos and messages to meet the deadline at the bottom of your screen, and to also please include the date of your celebration when submitting as well.
All right, very important information there. I've got a long list of information to go over with you this morning. We are beginning in Joplin, though, with a traffic alert to give you a heads up on your morning commute that if you're heading out on Rangeline, the north and southbound outside lanes are closed at 15th Street. So part of that ongoing project to redo that intersection and that stretch of road out there. But be aware of this because a few days ago they had to close the northbound right-hand lane, and traffic during the lunch hour backed up pretty bad. So just make sure you're prepared, make sure you're merging early, or if possible, just avoid that area. Then we have all of this. We've got thunderstorms continuing to flare up across the area. We can take this back, even just an hour to 5:47, and you see where these thunderstorms have really begun to fill in across southeast Kansas. They haven't been moving a lot, but I think they're going to start moving because we have this cluster that again was briefly severe around the KC metro area and is pushing southeast. And if you watch as it gets organized up there, moves southeast, it's starting to try and drag some of this activity southeast with it. A lot of what we've been seeing hasn't been moving a lot. And in our immediate area, 396 lightning strikes. So while we haven't had anything severe in our area, we've had a lot of lightning. And this one here, this strike, it's a recent one to the southwest of Butler. You can see how far it is from the parent storm. Now, I can't say for sure which storm it would have come from, but that's just that reminder. When thunder roars, head indoors. That's why we say this, because lightning can strike upwards of 20 miles away from the parent. So there's a second one now away from the parent storm. In addition to that, we have occasionally seen lightning strike upwards of 50 miles away from the parent storm. So do keep that in mind this morning. All right, southern Lynn County, we have this thunderstorm down here that's north of Freedom, just south of Mound City. We got another one to the west of Blue Mound. Just some showers back around Burlington, Yates Center, and back into Greenwood counties. This little guy that was near Yates Center has kind of fizzled out a bit, but is now got some heavier rain just to the east of Buffalo. We head back down into parts of Wilson County around Fredonia. This storm near Altoona and over Fredonia. Again, it started from, as you can see, not much. It intensified, flared up pretty quickly. It is starting to lose some intensity, but still a fair amount of lightning with this storm specifically as well. 34 lightning strikes. May not seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but just for a single storm, that's quite a bit. Then we head down to the south and east to the west of Parsons here and around Cherryvale. Additional showers, some heavier thunderstorms and rain out there. We've got this one in south central Montgomery County from Independence down toward Coffeyville. Still have some showers, few rumbles of thunder into Elk and Chautauqua counties. We got this heavier storm starting to slowly weaken a bit around Washington County and Bartlesville, but still, nonetheless, it is there. And it still is a strong storm, 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So take a look. You can see how none of this was really moving. And in fact, even in just the last few seconds since we looked at this. See how this is trying to pick back up. This activity, there's a brief outflow boundary here that flares this up. It's moving south and east. So eventually into Bates County, Vernon County, Lynn County, Bourbon County. I think it's going to hold its own. Will it be severe? Not likely, but could it be a little bit strong? Some gusty winds? Certainly, a lot of lightning. But it's going to, I think, eventually, and see how this is now trying to fill in, to almost join up with it. I think it's going to start dragging this activity to the south and east. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. We also, later today, have a level 1 out of 5 risk for some strong to low-grade severe thunderstorms with gusty winds up to 60 is the primary concern. Future Track's not picking up on these storms through the morning. I think they're going to hang on. Even if they're isolated, they'll continue through the morning, early afternoon. Then we'll get new development later this evening, and some of this activity is what could be strong to severe as well, with another thunderstorm complex that races through overnight. That should be done by about 3-4 a.m. We'll get a break from that rain, and we'll start to get a break from the heat as well. Of course, a reminder very quickly, our heat index values today up to 105. We do have heat advisories across a good portion of the area through 8 this evening. Got another look at your forecast and your wake-up recap in just a moment. And when we transition to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., the king of rock and roll taking the stage again in Westbury as Elvis tribute artists keep the legend alive 48 years after his death.
This is your wake-up recap for August 19th. The top stories to start your day. 45-year-old Teddy Vogel of Galena was arrested yesterday for sex crimes against a child. Cherokee County Sheriff Brian Henderson reports that an investigation into inappropriate relations with a juvenile led to Vogel's arrest. He faces charges of aggravated criminal sodomy and aggravated indecent liberties with a minor. The investigation is ongoing. Anyone with information should contact the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. The Oklahoma Turnpike Authority worker Zach Reinhart was killed and another was critically injured when a semi veered off eastbound I-44 near Miami yesterday afternoon. Reinhart, a heavy equipment operator and volunteer firefighter, was picking up trash when the semi struck. The other worker inside an OTA vehicle was taken to a Joplin hospital. And Missouri's Attorney General Andrew Bailey is set to resign, accepting a role as co-deputy director of the FBI. Governor Mike Kehoe will announce Bailey's replacement at a press conference later today at the Missouri State Capitol. Bailey's resignation takes effect on September 8th. And that's a check of today's Wake Up Recap.
And we've got thunderstorms out there this morning, more expected into the afternoon, evening, and overnight. Mid-90s heat index values up to 105, maybe as high as 108. And again, some of the storms later today into the overnight hours could be strong, low-grade severe with some gusty winds out there. Scattered storms again overnight, back to about 70 for our low. Temperatures tomorrow a little closer to normal, still hot and muggy though. A few isolated pop-up storms, near average temperatures into the weekend. More pop-up storm chances possible this weekend and to start the next work week. And then take a look by Wednesday, Thursday could be in the low 80s with lows dipping back pretty close to the upper 50s. So just a little more time and then we'll get some relief from this heat.
Coming up today at noon, we're making shortcut fruit crepes in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Back to School series continues with a look at what it's like when artificial intelligence is used in classrooms. Plus, Eva Pilgrim stops by the studio as the new host of Inside Edition.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, a DWI crash sends a Pitt State softball player to the hospital. We hear how you can help her and her family while she recovers.
And Charlene Patton back in the studio with her recipe for zucchini dippers. That certainly sounds very good out there. And of course, we've got the storms this morning. Again, a lot of lightning. If any of them become severe, we'll certainly let you know. Just play it safe. Watch out for the potential for flash flooding as well. That's going to do it for now, though. We will be back here tomorrow morning for those of you starting like pre-K or kindergarten. It's this many a.m. That's 5.
And we'll see you today at noon.